And joining me now, NBC News correspondent Ali Rafah with more on the latest. Ali, good morning. I know that you're also getting the information as it rolls in, as we are. Tell us, what is the response from the White House as of right now?
Yeah, Katie, we have a new statement from a National Security Council spokesperson, Adrienne Watson, as of just a few minutes ago. She says in this statement condemning terrorist attacks against Israel, the United States unequivocally condemns the unprovoked attacks by Hamas terrorists against Israeli civilians. There is never any justification for terrorism. We stand firmly with the government and people of Israel, and we extend our condolences for the Israeli lives lost in these attacks. And she goes on to say that National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has spoken to his Israeli counterpart, and she says that we remain in close contact with our Israeli partners. Katie, a White House official tells us this morning the White House is aware and monitoring this. They say White House senior staff has been up through the night monitoring this unprecedented situation unfolding on the ground in Israel. And as you mentioned, as Adrienne Watson mentioned, that Jake Sullivan has already spoken with his Israeli counterpart. And when you think of the backdrop here, this is a long-time alliance that the United States has with Israel. This is our closest ally in the Middle East. It's an ally that shares our country's democratic values. Think of just a couple weeks ago, the meeting that President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu had on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, where he reaffirmed the United States' support, continued support for Israel. You think of a couple of months ago when we had President Herzog of Israel visit the White House and meet with President Biden. So this is a long-standing alliance that the president is committed to keeping, but the president has been under pressure to sort of shift the dynamics of this alliance. We know that Israel is the #1 recipient of U.S. military aid, and the president has faced pressure to adjust those numbers in recent months for several factors. So how this crisis, this ongoing crisis, if at all, affects that or impacts that in any way is something to definitely watch. And just from a more broad scale, on a foreign policy scale, any uprising or instability in this region could also risk instability in other Middle Eastern countries. So you have to think that this is something that U.S. officials are considering when we wait to see what the next steps of not just Israel, but also of the United States are.
So, Ali, thanks for that latest, but let's kind of put it into perspective. More than just the statements from the United States, should the United States be concerned about what is going on in Israel right now?
I think it's too early to tell. Of course, we know that this is a very solid relationship, and this is a relationship that we've seen for years, not just the Biden administration, but the past Trump administration, the Obama administration, solidify and really reaffirm this support that the United States has for Israel. So until we see and hear what the next steps are as far as how U.S. officials are going to react to this, I think it's too early to say whether people here in the United States should be worried about what's going on there, Katie.
Yeah, Ali, and I just wanted to clarify my statement. Obviously, we're all concerned about what's going on, especially if there's an invasion in Israel. So thank you so much for getting us this information. It's critical, and I appreciate it.